Zoom has been a miracle for many since lockdown, allowing many of us to work from home, but it has brought a few challenges, from making sure your mic is on, or maybe you're on mute at the wrong time, the right time, to making sure your bookcase in the background just shows how intelligent you are. There's a whole host of different issues when it comes to using Zoom. But Lichfield MP Michael Fabricant's appearance, or let's say the choice of background for a video link to the House of Commons, was, how can I put it, so striking that it caught the attention of Speaker Lindsay Hoyle.
Let us head up to Lichfield to, oh my word, we have got the cathedral in the background, to Michael Fabricant, who's looking rather orange today. Michael Fabricant.
Now,
I'm very worried you're saying I'm looking orange, Mr. Speaker. It makes me think of Donald Trump.
What, of course, what you won't, of course, be seeing is that the Conservative MP was speaking via video link with a special virtual background featuring Lichfield Cathedral. Now, let's find out why it was a special background by speaking to the man himself. Good afternoon, Michael.
Hello, John. That's a shame we're on radio. You can't see my background.
I love Mr. Hoyle's reaction there. That was brilliant.
Well, I'm told by the clerks. I thought, well, basically, I've not used the background before, and we had a particular version of Zoom, all the MPs, that didn't enable us to do it. But I downloaded a more up-to-date version, and suddenly I thought, I could use a virtual background. So I used a lovely picture of Stow Pool with the cathedral in the background. And, the Speaker always introduces me, which is lovely of him. He always says, now up to Lichfield, and in the shadows of Lichfield Cathedral, Michael Fabricant. So I thought, right, we'll do it this time. But when you sort of do these things with the House of Commons, you have to go via their engineering department. They went, you've got a background. Not done that before. I don't think we're allowed to do that. And I said, well, why not? I'm not sort of, So they said, we've got to phone up the clerks of the House and things, get permission. And there was a lot of fumbling around and excited chatter in the background, and they came back and they said, we'll give it a go. Apparently there's no rule saying you can't. So we've got a first in the House of Commons from Lichfield, and that is we use the virtual background.
I can't believe...
I like plugging Lichfield.
Well, absolutely, it's a beautiful place, but I cannot believe that you were the first to try it, Michael.
There are a number of things I've done as a first. I remember once once I referred to something and said hashtag, and hashtag smile or something, I can't remember, and I noticed in Hansard it appeared as hashtag in inverted commas, and it was all italicized. They didn't actually use the hashtag sign. On another occasion, I was quoting someone with a four-letter word, which we won't go into now, but I spelled it out. It was a very serious issue, actually. It had to do with the previous speaker. And I was very curious to see how Hansard would deal with it. And they spelt out that four letters. I was quoting that previous speaker with, I won't spell it out on the radio.
No, please, no.
Full stops in between and capital letters. And apparently that had required the editor of Hansard and a half an hour debate, internally about how they would deal with that. They thought they might put asterisks in, and they thought, no, they can't do that. They have to quote me direct, so they did.
Now, do you know what, Michael? It's great to get you on the programme this afternoon because, of course, we had the great news about the vaccine yesterday. It's a subject which I know you've been following very closely. You must be delighted.
Well, I am. And it's only one of 6 vaccines that we've actually bought the rights to. So this first one that we've announced yesterday, or they announced actually, made by Pfizer, is slightly difficult, actually, because it has to be stored at minus 70 degrees centigrade, which I can tell you is bloody cold. But the other vaccines don't have to be stored at that temperature. And we think that at least 3 vaccines, including the British AstraZeneca one, the Oxford University AstraZeneca one, is actually more advanced than the Pfizer one. But of course, being British, we terribly buttoned up, so we don't sort of make public announcements about it. And it's got to be said that the Pfizer one hasn't actually finished the trials yet, but it's looking good, as are at least 2 other vaccines. We've bought the rights to 350 million doses. So wow. Hopefully one of them's going to work. Actually, in all seriousness, the Pfizer one is said to be 90% effective. And to give you some sort of idea whether that's good or bad or not, the average flu vaccine is only about 72% effective, depending on the particular year that you have it in and the particular virus is doing the rounds at the time. So 90% is pretty effective. So I think there is light at long last at the end of this rather gloomy tunnel.
Absolutely. Michael, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being on the show this afternoon. Just be careful with Zoom. It can be very dangerous. There's Lichfield MP Michael Fabricant.